Welcome back to the Dinar Chronicle, where truth meets timing. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notification, because this is the place where we uncover the truths behind the headlines, the facts behind the fear, and the real-time events shaking the foundation of our global economic system. We bring you breaking updates, in-depth analysis, and data-backed reporting on major currency moves, the dinar, the dong, and all things related to the Great Global Reset. What you're about to hear today is not only real, it's historic, because what's unfolding with the Vietnamese Dong is not just about currency, it's about control, collapse, and a complete shift in how the financial world operates. Today's report is unlike anything we've covered before. Why? Because a massive revaluation of the Vietnamese Dong has just occurred, and the ripple effects are shaking global markets. From Wall Street to Hanoi, from the IMF to your local currency exchange counter, shockwaves are being felt as the world wakes up to the reality of a radically revalued VND. It's not a drill. This is not speculation. This is happening. And depending on how prepared you are, it could either be the greatest financial opportunity of your life or a devastating missed moment. The Vietnamese Dong has long been called the sleeping giant. In currency investment circles, for years holders of VND have waited patiently for the day when Vietnam's currency would reflect its true economic strength. That day has finally arrived, but not without consequences. In the early morning hours before the U.S. markets opened, the Vietnamese central bank issued an emergency directive announcing a new peg of the VND to a gold-backed basket of currencies. The announcement was coordinated with Asian financial markets, and although the mainstream media has yet to fully grasp its implications, major financial institutions are already reacting. The VND is no longer trading in the 23,000–24,000 range. As of this moment, the VND has revalued dramatically upward, shocking currency traders and causing disarray in automated trading systems. This revaluation has had such a dramatic effect on Forex platforms that several major brokers have temporarily suspended VND trades, and some exchanges have gone dark. The exact rate varies depending on the platform, but estimates now suggest the dong is valued anywhere between 0.05 to 0.10 USD, a leap that few outside of the currency reset community expected to happen so suddenly. So what led to this overnight event? Why would Vietnam choose now to revalue the dong, and why is the global system reacting so violently to it? To understand this, we have to connect the dots that many in the mainstream media refuse to acknowledge. For months now, the Dinar Chronicle has been warning of a shift. We've talked about the quiet actions of central banks, the rising power of BRICS nations, the demand for asset-backed currency, and the collapse of trust in fiat systems. The Vietnamese government has spent the last year strengthening its foreign currency reserves, increasing gold holdings, and tightening its regulatory framework to prepare for this moment. The announcement of a gold-pegged dong isn't just an economic decision, it's a political one. It signals Vietnam's exit from the Western-controlled fiat system and its entrance into a new multipolar financial world order. But here's where things get even more serious. The VND revaluation didn't just catch Forex traders by surprise, it triggered a cascade failure across multiple financial systems that were not prepared for this kind of disruption. Algorithms that were designed to trade within predictable bands of volatility went haywire. Some hedge funds lost billions in minutes, liquidity pools vanished, derivatives based on Asian currency baskets began to unwind violently. In fact, early reports suggest that several major U.S. investment banks are holding emergency meetings to assess exposure to the VND and its ripple effects across Southeast Asia. And it's not just the banks. The International Monetary Fund and World Bank are reportedly holding closed-door discussions to address the fallout of a nation revaluing its currency without Western permission or oversight. Think about that. For decades, Western financial institutions dictated the terms. They told countries like Vietnam when they could float, how they could peg, and what their reserves should look like. But now, Vietnam has bypassed that authority entirely and taken matters into its own hands. This is more than just a revaluation. It's a rebellion against the fiat regime, and the effects are spreading. Other countries are watching closely. If Vietnam can revalue and peg to real assets like gold and oil, then so can others. Nations like Iraq, Zimbabwe, even Brazil and Russia may follow suit. What we're seeing is the early stage of a currency domino effect, one that could permanently destabilize the US dollar's hegemony in global trade. This brings us to a critical question. What does this mean for holders of Vietnamese Dong? First, if you hold physical VND or have it in a digital wallet through a Forex broker, you may be sitting on life-changing profits. But you also need to act wisely. Exchange mechanisms are temporarily overwhelmed. Many banks are not yet aligned with the new rate. Some institutions are refusing to process VND transactions until further guidance is issued by the Treasury or the Federal Reserve. In short, you may not be able to walk into your local branch and cash out just yet, even though your holdings may now be worth a substantial sum. Second, you need to be extremely cautious right now. Scammers and fake exchange agents are going to come out of the woodwork. If you've been contacted by someone claiming to have special access to exchange centers or offering premium rates in exchange for upfront fees, run. No legitimate exchange requires you to pay anything to redeem your currency. What's happening now is creating a perfect storm of hope and confusion, and that's exactly the kind of environment scammers thrive in. Stay calm, verify everything, and wait for official channels to confirm the exchange process. You will get your moment, but not if you rush into a trap. For those of you wondering when and where you'll be able to exchange your VND, here's what we know so far. Several Tier 1 banks, including Wells Fargo, Chase, and Citibank, have already halted their foreign exchange desks temporarily. This is not due to policy changes, but rather a reaction to the sudden market volatility caused by the revaluation. Internal systems are being updated, staff are being briefed, and secure exchange protocols are being implemented. Insiders tell us that as soon as global coordination is reached, likely between the IMF, the U.S. Treasury, and participating nations, an official announcement will be made outlining exchange procedures, redemption centers, and secure rates. Until then, the best course of action is to remain informed and prepared. Make sure your currency is organized, documented, and ready for verification. Keep all receipts and proof of purchase. Update your KYC information with your bank, especially if you've previously inquired about foreign currency exchanges. And perhaps most importantly, stay tuned to this channel because we'll be bringing you real-time updates as the situation unfolds. Beyond the immediate exchange logistics, we also need to talk about the larger economic implications of this VND event. With Vietnam suddenly stepping outside the traditional system and asserting the true value of its currency, a massive gap has been exposed between asset-backed economies and debt-backed economies. The VND move is not just a revaluation, it's a repudiation of decades of Western monetary manipulation. And now the world is watching to see who moves next. Will it be Iraq with the dinar? Will it be the BRICS nations unveiling their new gold-backed digital currency? One thing is certain, the rules have changed, the impact is already visible on the markets. Gold has spiked, the US dollar index is down, Asian currencies are rallying, oil is volatile, and central banks are frantically reviewing their reserves and exposure to Southeast Asia. This is a systemic shock, not just a regional event. And if you're watching this video, congratulations. You are ahead of 99% of the world right now. You are informed. You are awake. And you are in a position to benefit while others are still being spoon-fed lies by the mainstream financial media. Let's also address the psychological impact. For years, the idea of a VND revaluation was dismissed as conspiracy or wishful thinking. Currency holders were laughed at, ridiculed, even warned by financial advisors not to waste their time. But today, all of that changed. The revaluation is no longer a theory. It's history. And you were right to believe. Now the responsibility is on all of us to use this moment wisely, to help others understand what's happening, and to navigate this new financial landscape with wisdom, patience, and integrity. 2. Close this report. I want to thank every single one of you who supported the Dinar Chronicle on this journey. We've faced criticism, we've endured mockery, but we never stopped sharing the truth. And now that truth is unfolding right before our eyes. The Vietnamese Dong has revalued, the global system is reacting, and the future will never be the same. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. We're witnessing the early stages of a currency revolution, a reset of epic proportions, and the Dinar Chronicle will be right here with you every step of the way. If you haven't already, please like this video, comment below with your thoughts, and share it with everyone in your network who holds VND or is interested in what's coming next.